Brenda hummed as she tidied up her body after her vigorous sex with her lover, Jack. Her body was still tingling from his ardent caresses. She always sang as she cleaned herself up after sex, but now she had to hurry. Her husband, David, was due home in an hour after a night out of town. She wiped herself thoroughly and then dusted herself with bath powder. She admired her body in the mirror. There was a beautiful woman looking back at her. She had large breasts, at 35, still firm and high on her chest. Her waist was narrow and widened nicely to her wide hips. There wasn't a single crease on her taut, flat stomach. She walked over to the dresser and pulled out her panties and bra. She put them on and leaned forward so her breasts were in the cups of the bra. She pulled her shorts and tank top out of the dresser and put them on. She needed to get undressed and change the bed soon before David got home. She looked to his side of the bed and saw the time on the alarm clock. She froze. What was that lying on the bed? She moved closer. It was a box of Ziploc bags. Kitchen scissors lay next to a large hole cut in the sheet. Her hands rushed to her face. She ran to the front of the house. On the floor in front of the fireplace in the living room lay her large, formal portrait, cut to ribbons. Their wedding picture from the mantel was smashed against the hearth. She saw smoke coming from the living room. She ran and peered into the room. The smoke was coming from a pile of photo albums burning in the fireplace. Staggering over to the window and opened it to let the smoke out. Running across the dining room, she saw something on the table. It was a hammer with a broken wedding ring lying next to it, and she could make out part of the writing on the inside of the ring. It read, "To David Lowe." The rest was covered by the broken side of the ring, which was partially embedded in the polished mahogany tabletop. Her legs seemed to give out, and she fell to the floor sobbing. Then she sat staring into space. She walked in a trance, stopping to gawk at the broken ruminants of her marriage. She wandered into the den. The fireplace had burned out. She noticed his gun cabinet door was open. She took a quick peek inside. There were 2 empty spaces. His old Colt .45 and a .44 Magnum were gone. She quickly looked around. She ran to the phone. Her hands were shaking so badly she had to dial the number 3 times. "Jack, he knows. He was here and he destroyed all my pictures, burned our wedding album and all the other pictures we had. He broke his wedding ring, and Jack, he took his 2 guns. I'm scared. You better hide. No, I'm not gonna run. I don't think he's gonna hurt me, and if he does, I deserve it." Hanging up the phone, she sat down and stared at the shredded painting she had once been so proud of. The next morning, she forced herself to eat a piece of toast and drank some instant coffee. She hadn't heard from her all day except for a call from Jack, who wanted to know if she was okay. She told him never to call there again. Most of the time, she sat there crying. What had she done? Why? She had everything she dreamed of. A handsome, sexy husband who adored her, a beautiful home, beautiful clothes, and a new luxury car. All the money she wanted. Why? She didn't hear anything the next day either. He hadn't killed himself, had he? God, no. Please don't let that happen. She needed someone to talk to, but she was afraid to admit her infidelity to any of her friends. The next day around noon, the phone rang. She hurried to answer it. A woman's voice asked if she was Mrs. David Landon. She answered that she was. The voice said, "This is a call from Memorial Hospital. Ma'am, if you have any influence over your husband, please ask him to come back to the hospital. He is not yet strong enough to get back on his feet so quickly." "I didn't know he was in the hospital. What's wrong with him?" "He had a massive heart attack. He had triple bypass surgery 2 days ago." "Oh, wait. I see a note that you weren't supposed to be notified. Please forgive me. I made a mistake. We were just worried about him. He's still very sick." Brenda sank to the floor, resting her head on her knees. She had killed him. She was in shock. She didn't hear anything else that day, and the next morning she got dressed to go outside. She heard a knock on the door. A nice-looking man stood there. "Mrs. Brenda Landon?" he asked. Yes, I'm her, she replied. Thank you, Mrs. Landon. He handed her a large manila envelope. Ma'am, you are being served. He turned and walked away. She went back into the house, sat down at the kitchen table, and opened the envelope. As she expected, it was the paperwork for a petition to dissolve her and David's marriage. She studied the cover letter and found the phone number of the attorney who was handling David's case. She dialed the number, identified herself, and asked to be connected to Mr. Adams, the attorney. After a short wait, he got on the line and said he couldn't tell her anything that wasn't in the motion. Brenda said, Mr. Adams, I have read the documents and have no problem understanding them. However, I refuse to sign them and will contest the divorce unless he talks to me. Mrs. Landon, your husband anticipated your request and instructed me to tell you that he witnessed you clearly enjoying sexual contact with a man other than him in the marital bed. He says he can't think of anything you could say to change his mind. I see. Give him that message. Joan Landon, June 3rd, 2005. Tell him I have the picture, and if he continues with this foolish endeavor, he knows what the consequences will be. Tell him he has until tomorrow to contact me before the excellent photo is emailed to all concerned, including our children, his brother, and his mother and father. Do you have all that? Yes, ma'am. I have all of that, but I'm not sure I can find it so soon. I don't want to be unreasonable. Contact me before the time specified if you don't find him by then. I can give you a short delay. She hung up the phone and sank into a chair. She sobbed. She hated to do this, but she had no choice. She had a long night ahead of her. She knew she needed to eat, but she didn't think she could stay on her feet. Brenda was sitting in the dark, half awake, half drifting into sleep when she heard the sound of a key in the front door. The door opened and she saw David enter. He stopped and looked around in the faint light coming through the open door. He reached out and turned on the light in the foyer. Seeing her in the kitchen, he slowly walked in and sat across from her at the table. For several minutes, they stared at each other. I'd forgotten about that night, Bren. I didn't realize you had seen us. Oh, I did see you. I took out my little digital camera, set it to low light, and took some good pictures. I was furious. I wanted to hurt you and make both of you pay dearly for hurting me so much. I decided to wait until morning before meeting you. That night I thought about what I should do. I still loved you and didn't want a divorce. I knew that if your brother Mike found out, he would get violent, and they would end up getting divorced. And with 3 small children, it would really hurt their children and the 2 of us. I thought about our marriage, all the good years we've had, and what lies ahead. I just kept my mouth shut. I followed you pretty closely for a year or so. I guessed that the 2 of you had a one-time thing, and that you made a mistake. Was I wrong? Number. It only happened once. We were too embarrassed to even talk about it. We still haven't said anything to each other about it. At parties, we keep quite far apart now. Yes, I've noticed that. Brenda, I'm glad I came here and talked to you. I want you to know that you broke my heart when I saw you with Jack. How long ago was that? David, it only happened twice. I don't know why. I'm not in love with him. I still love you with all my heart. He stopped by to see you before he left for his new job in California. We started flirting with each other. He told me that he had always wanted to have sex with me. He said he had fantasized about it for years. I don't know how we ended up in our bed. I have to admit that I really enjoyed it. It was some of the best sex I've had in years. It was the first night you were gone, and then he came over to my place again. It was flattering to be wanted by a young, handsome man. It wasn't love. It didn't mean anything. David stood up, walked slowly to the window, and stared out into the night. He turned and looked at her. Are you going to California? Hell no. It was good sex, nothing more than that. There was no love, no tenderness. There was no desire on his part to please me, and I didn't care if he finished or not. It wasn't the best sex of my life. You've given it to me hundreds of times over the years. He was only the second man I'd ever had sex with. That, and the impropriety of it, made it exciting. It was also the worst moment of my life when I realized you had seen us. I had betrayed you and broken my marriage vows. I thought it would never happen. I knew how much it hurt. I saw you betray me. It almost killed me. I really didn't want you to ever feel that way. I don't know what to say or do, Brenda. I'm numb. I can't bear the thought that I can't be with you. I don't know if I can forgive you. I have to think about it. Dave, honey, do what you think is right. I really don't deserve you. The worst part of all of this is when I realize that deep down, I killed the person I loved most in the world. I don't want you to worry about anything until you're better. You don't have to get a divorce. Just say you want me out of your life. It won't be a problem. I'll do it for you. I'll be gone forever. I don't like the sound of that. I really don't like the way you said it. Please just think about it and let me know when you feel well enough to handle it. You should be in bed. Do you know about this? The doctor said, if you can't go back to the hospital, at least stay in bed for a couple of days. Let me help you back to the guest bedroom. I'll watch you for a day or two, and then I'll leave, okay? I feel a little tired and dizzy. I think I'll lie down for a while. Let me call 911 and take you to the hospital, okay? Number? Let me lie down for a while, and then we'll see how I feel. She helped him take off his coat. She unbuckled his belt and pulled the zipper down. He sat on the edge of the bed. She ran down the hall to the master bedroom, grabbed her pajamas, and brought them to him. After hanging up the suit, she made him stand up, threw back the covers, and helped him into bed. He felt her hot tears on his face as she pulled the covers over him. She kissed him gently on the forehead and quietly closed the door behind her. She walked to the kitchen and sat down at the table. She picked up the phone and called David's parents. Claire, his mother, answered. Mom, have you talked to David lately? Number, honey, I have some serious news for you about David. He had triple bypass surgery a few days ago. He seems to be doing well now. That's because he and I have been fighting and I only found out about it last night. He left the hospital against doctor's orders. No one knew where he was. He didn't come home until today. I put him to bed. He's asleep now. He doesn't want me to call 911. I'll see how he feels in the morning. I'll keep an eye on him today. If I think he has any problems, I'll call 911 right away. Yes, Mom. I'll let you know if there are any changes. I'll call you in the morning. She pondered whether to call their children, but decided against it. They were both studying for exams. Brenda went back to the hall, opened the door quietly, and saw that he was asleep. She sat down in the chair next to the bed and looked at the face of the man she had lived with and loved for 23 years. She had borne him children and believed they would be together forever. Tears ran down her cheeks as she contemplated life without this man she loved so much. She thought about the man she knew better than she knew herself. She took his big, strong hand in hers. She knew he was very intelligent and fair in his dealings with everyone. Deep down, she was sure he would forgive her, as she had forgiven him. She wasn't going to take it out on him. He would deal with it himself when he got better. Exhausted, she fell asleep in the chair beside him. She awoke to the bright sunlight in the room. Feeling a cold, hard hand, she realized her life was over.